Hi, my name is Owen Driscoll. I work at Roane State Community College, and I've been a Tennessee Achieves mentor for the past 6 years. If you're a Tennessee Promise student, you are getting a ton of information from Tennessee Promise about what to do and what forms to fill out, and that's great, and I encourage you to check your email and keep a close eye on those things. What I wanted to talk to you about today are just some key highlights to help you keep the big picture in mind as you go through this process. There are a few big jobs that you have to do as a Tennessee Promise student, and we're going to talk about each one of those. One is filling out the FAFSA, or Free Application for Federal Student Aid. 2 is getting your college application done. 3rd, taking the ACT. 4th, registering for classes. And finally, just keeping up with your community service and some other requirements that Tennessee Promise asks of you as a Tennessee Promise scholar. The first job, getting your FAFSA done. You've probably heard a lot about the Free Application for Federal Student Aid. The main thing to remember is that Tennessee Promise wants you to complete your FAFSA by February 15th every year. Just go ahead and put that deadline in your phone for as long as you are a Tennessee Promise student. February 15th, no matter whether you're just starting out in Tennessee Promise or you're continuing next year, is your deadline for completing the FAFSA. Remember, the FAFSA for the new academic year always comes out on January 1st. So when New Year's Day rolls around, let that be a mental reminder to you to get that FAFSA done by February 15th. Remember, the FAFSA is just one part of your financial aid process. You also need to make sure your financial aid file is complete by June 15th. That means making sure your college has all the paperwork they need in their hands by June 15th. Your college will email you and tell you what they need, but you must get in the habit of checking your college email so you don't miss anything. Starting around March, check your college email 3 times a week. Also, call and confirm that financial aid has what they need from you. Get the name of the people you talk to. Don't wait and hope your college has everything. Make it your business to be 100% sure your file is complete by June 15th. The second big job that you have to do is to get your college application done. Now, in the grand scheme of higher education paperwork that you're going to be dealing with, the college application is one of the easiest parts. There's no need to wait until the last minute to do it. Just go ahead and get your college application done. Roane State has no application fee, so there's no small charge or any fees that you have to deal with. It's a very simple form, mostly just your name and contact information, programs you're interested in, that sort of thing. So just go ahead and get those applications in. Tennessee Promise likes for you to have those in also by February 15th. Another big job that you'll have to do is take the ACT. Now, chances are your guidance counselor is going to work with you to schedule the ACT on what's called a national test date. That's the time when all students around the country take the ACT. What you want to be aware of with the ACT are the minimum scores you need to go directly into college level classes when you start at Roane State. For Roane State, those minimum scores are 18 in English, 19 in math, and 19 in reading. If you have at least those scores, you can go right into college level courses that count toward your degree. Now, let's say you're below those scores in one of those areas and you want to try to get above those scores. You can either retake the ACT national test, or if there are no more ACT national test dates available, you can take something called the ACT residual test. The key thing to remember about the ACT residual test is that those scores only apply at the college where you take the test. So if you take an ACT residual test at Roane State, those scores can only be used at Roane State. That said, there is absolutely nothing wrong with retaking the ACT national or taking an ACT residual as many times as you need to take it to try to get those minimum scores. Roane State super scores the ACT, which basically means we take your best available scores. It is well worth it if you are close to those minimum scores to do your very best to try to meet them or get better scores than the minimums, because then you can go right into college level work and start working toward your degree. One of the other big jobs that you have to do as a Tennessee Promise student is register for classes. What I would encourage you to do is register early. Come in person, meet with an advisor, sit down and talk with them about what your interests are and what you want to do, and start picking out your classes early, around April, May, so that you can get the schedule that you want. I always tell students that the busier you are, the more you want to get started on your schedule early so that you can build a schedule that fits your needs. If you wait until the last minute and maybe you need morning classes, those morning classes might be full if you wait until June, July, and August to pick out your schedule. There's a lot of freedom for you as a college student to pick when and where you want your classes, but there's also a responsibility for you to get started early to make sure you build a class schedule that's going to help you perform well, and that's going to fit with whatever else you have going on in your life. Tennessee Promise is what's called a last dollar scholarship. Tennessee Promise scholarship will only kick in after all your other financial aid has been used. So let's say you have a $2,000 tuition bill and you have a Hope Scholarship for $1,000 and a Pell Grant for $1,000. At that point, you don't need any more money for tuition. It's already been covered by the Hope Scholarship and the Pell Grant. Therefore, you don't need the Tennessee Promise Scholarship to help pay for your tuition. Now, maybe in the spring semester, you have a $3,000 tuition bill, and you still have your $1,000 Hope Scholarship and your $1,000 Pell Grant, but now you have $1,000 left over. That's where, for example, the Tennessee Promise Scholarship would kick in to cover that last $1,000. Now, the question might come up because a lot of you could be in a situation where your other scholarships or Hope Scholarships and Pell Grants may be covering all of your tuition and fees. And so you may not actually be using Tennessee Promise Scholarship money. The question might come up is, well, why should you stay in the program? Why should you stay eligible? Well, there are a couple of reasons. First and foremost, the things that Tennessee Promise is asking you to do, such as your community service and maintaining a minimum GPA, are good for you as a student anyway. Community service is a great way to get some experience. It's great for your portfolio. And the GPA that Tennessee Promise wants you to maintain is just enough for you to be a good, decent college level student. We'd actually like you to far exceed the Tennessee Promise GPA requirements. But in addition to that, you just never know what's going to happen next. So there may be a semester where you don't need the Tennessee Promise Scholarship money. But if you don't do what you need to do to stay eligible, what about that semester a year down the road when maybe you do need it? So regardless of whether or not your tuition is covered by other grants and scholarships, stay eligible for Tennessee Promise because you just never know when you're going to need it. I would encourage you to come to Roane State, spend some time here, get to know your professors. We have an art professor who is known around the country. One of our English professors is a renowned poet. We have some amazing technology. I'm talking to you today from our TV station in downtown Harriman. We have all kinds of interesting opportunities if you take the time to make the most of the tremendous opportunity Tennessee Promise is giving you. We send students to study in Europe, Denmark, Italy, Ecuador. They do service projects in Haiti and Costa Rica. There are just so many amazing opportunities right here at the small community college. And you are a college student, you're an adult. I think that's one thing that you'll notice right away when you set foot on our campus is that it's a little bit different relationship with your professors because you are an adult, you are a college student, and you will sense that from day one. Tennessee Promise is giving you a once-in-a-lifetime amazing opportunity. Watch what they ask you to do, meet the deadlines, and let's move forward so that you can graduate and go on to a wonderful career. Thank you.